Hello and welcome to the next edition of From Stats to Chats. I am Amanda Stewart and I manage the distribution channels in North America for the Microsoft Teams Rooms business. This short series of videos will provide a stat or a trend about Teams Rooms or hybrid work, and I'll translate that data into useful information you can use to start conversations with your customers. I've done the research so that you don't have to. Let's dive in. Today, we are going to focus on how to work in the U.S. That means for productivity and employee retention and talent. So, bottom line 63% of high growth companies have implemented a hybrid work model or a productivity anywhere model, which means that they allow employees to work remotely or be in the office depending upon the needs of that employee on that specific day. Hybrid work, as many of you know, isn't a new concept. I personally have worked from home in a remote or hybrid fashion for almost 20 years. For high growth companies, they have long recognized the benefits of recruiting and retaining talent while also seeing positive outcomes in productivity in a hybrid model. For these organizations, 72% of them, the huge majority of them, will state that they will invest more in tools for virtual collaboration in the future. So that tells us that not only do they plan to continue their hybrid work model, but they intend to improve it. This includes huge investments in IT infrastructure to secure virtual connectivity. 64% of organizations plan on providing more training for managers to manage and support a virtual team. That's a critical need for sustainability. And over half, or 57%, are planning investments to update conference rooms for better virtual connectivity. Other company investments will be to invest in hoteling applications and communal spaces and offices. If we translate this data into an opportunity for Microsoft Teams Rooms, we can easily recognize that the pandemic has created a workforce that learned how to be productive working at home using Microsoft Teams. They know how to schedule meetings, they know how to join meetings, or even record meetings that they can't attend. If part of that workforce is required to work in the office, even if only a few days a week, they're going to expect the same ease of use and efficiency from the technology in their physical meeting room. Organizational leadership can't expect employees to walk into a conference room with antiquated technology that is difficult to use and that causes meetings to be delayed. With productivity at an all time high, we don't have time for meetings to start late while we try and figure out which remote control to use to get the meeting started. So that's the 63% of high growth companies that have already implemented a hybrid work model. Conversely, 69% of negative or no growth companies have focused on becoming either entirely remote or entirely in office. And this tells us that these organizations are spending their time and energy on trying to figure out where everyone should work rather than just empowering their management and their employees to work wherever they need to be productive. Hybrid work will truly require a paradigm shift for these organizations, and they're going to rely heavily on you, our partner, to guide them on understanding the benefits and practices for hybrid work. Let's look at productivity. 84% of companies said that employee health and wellness is a very important consideration in creating a work plan. And 72% of employee productivity or said that employee productivity was very important to their decision-making process. However, 65% of executives believe that having employees in the office, the physical meeting space, is critically important to increasing productivity. In fact, it's the top, and you'll see on this chart, that executives listed when they were asked about the importance of having a physical office. There is clearly a disconnect in the data versus shows us is that employees are more productive when they work remotely. Only more productive, they're experiencing greater health and wellness. The top two criteria that executives are considering when building a work model. They're experiencing greater health and wellness, and they're more likely to stay at their job when they're allowed to work remotely, at least part of the time. As a result of the pandemic, health and wellness, productivity, and talent acquisition and retention are all directly correlated to having the option to work remotely or in a hybrid work environment. For the employees who state that they are more productive working remotely, this is largely due to companies investing in technology and systems to make hybrid work more collaborative with solutions like Microsoft Teams. So, bottom line, does hybrid work increase productivity? Yes, hybrid work increases productivity when it's implemented thoughtfully. The fact that 63% of high growth companies embrace hybrid work models compared to the 69% of low or no growth companies that embrace 100% of one or the other points to hybrid work being the best system for maximizing productivity as measured by revenue growth. Experts point to a combination of increased comfort with remote work, better work life balance, and the sustained company culture provided by some in office days as reasons why the hybrid work model is good for productivity. My last point is going to be on talent retention and acquisition. On average, companies see a 12% reduction in turnover when they allow their employees to do at least some remote work. 54% of employees say that they would leave their current job for one that provides more flexibility, especially in the area of remote work. And another factor to consider is that companies save $11,000 per year per part time remote worker on average. Listen to this stat. The number of online job searches for remote positions increased by 460% from June of 2019 to June of 2021, and that number has not decreased. According to a Forbes business article I read, 54% of employees said that they would change jobs if for another one that offered more remote work flexibility. If talent retention is in the top 3 most important factors for work model planning, hybrid work will become a critical element directly tied for employee recruitment and retention in every market for every organization. Microsoft Teams rooms can meet both the goals of executives and employees. Employees have been working from home, successfully using Microsoft Teams to collaborate. Executives want their employees to come into the office at least 3 days a week to maintain company culture. They will be happier and more productive if they have the same meeting experience in their physical meeting rooms, in turn making them more motivated to come into the office. I hope you found this information helpful in having compelling conversations with your customers, and I'll see you next time on From Stats to Chats.